Breaking news update, everyone. We finally have an update on the Guru or Furu challenge. It has been a couple months since I posted that very famous original tweet. It got almost 800,000 plus views. And alas, a few months later, I can finally announce that somebody has won the $10,000 challenge. I'm just kidding. Amazingly enough, nobody has won the challenge. What I thought were extremely easy standards have not been met by anybody. And for all the people that say, oh, but why would someone successful at trading ever care about the $10,000? Because if you have a subscription course or a subscription program and you met that challenge criteria, the feedback and the visibility and the amount of business that would have been drawn to their program would have been huge, but alas. Here we are, no one's done it. So what I did want to do though is create a follow-up to the original video and really call this Guru or Furu, what to look for in a paid trading service. And so there isn't really any single answer to this, but this is going to be a series of indicators that I think can help the consumer make a better judgment call. And as with my prior tweet, this video is not going to be about any individual. I'm not going to endorse or unendorse anyone. I'm not going to call anybody out. This is simply to provide guiding principles that will help you, the consumer, make a more informed decision and hopefully avoid a lot of the bullshit that is out there. Pardon my French for all the sub 18-year-old traders following me. And I think really the moral of the story that I want people to understand is this is something that is buyer beware. It is on you to do the due diligence. This is a largely unregulated industry. There aren't many rules. There is not much transparency. There are not many repercussions. So it is ultimately on you to do the diligence. People will always be snake oil salesmen. It is just the reality. There will always be bad people out there. Do I think what they're doing is ethical? Hell no. But guess what? They're just trying to make a living too, and people do that. So here's the reality. Marketing a trading product and selling a dream is far easier than trading itself. Trading is exceptionally hard, as I always say. So that is why there are so many Furus. They know trading is insanely hard, and they likely even saw firsthand that, wait a second, selling the fake map and fake shovels to people looking for gold is a lot easier than actually finding gold. So this video is for you all, the consumer, to educate on what I would personally be looking for if I was buying a service. Lucky for me, I'm not in the market for this, but this is hopefully going to be good for you. And so I think the most important kind of real question here is not does the trader providing the service post P&L necessarily or this or that, but does the service provide you with the real education that's actually going to help you, the consumer, find edge and make it as a trader? I would personally guess that, I don't know, probably 95% of the info and the services and the subscriptions out there have zero edge, and the marketer behind it has no edge, never had edge, and the product will never help you find edge. But there are a couple real traders out there. There are a couple really good courses, subscriptions, programs out there. So how can you make the best informed decision on what to purchase? I really think the gold standard for transparency is some type of proof of performance. I don't think this is necessary, as I'll get into later on, but if proving themselves is important to you, what to look for. Ideally, you have something like audited statements, or you have legal opinions where a lawyer is saying these claimed returns are legitimate. Ideally, you have tax forms. There are traders out there due to their domicile where their tax records are public record, and it is known that they are legit real traders. There is no faking that. There are traders out there that have verified real executions. There's traders out there that have videos of live accounts, and a lot of stuff can always be faked, but there's also some stuff where the burden or the reasonableness of actually being able to fake something gets much, much harder. For example, there's an awesome verification program out there that's called Kinfo. I'm not affiliated with them, but I did meet some of the guys at Traders for a Cause, one of the founders. And so what they essentially do is they directly link your trading account to their platform. And so all the people on there, it's all verified trades linked to verified accounts. So I think most people are never really going to sign up for something like a Kinfo, but I think the real people will. And that's really what you want to look for. And I think the real opportunity here is for the people that are willing to do so. If you're running a service and you're out there and you're watching this and you're real, it's so easy to differentiate yourself by verifying all that information. There are traders out there that since my posts have posted real verifications. Those are the people you want to flock to. And I think when those traders differentiate themselves, those marketers differentiate themselves that way, it will be huge for their business. I think other important questions to ask, are they even actually trading their signals live? Have they ever even made a living as a trader? If so, what were their best years look like? How long have they been trading? Where did they learn? Was it through a firm? Did they have mentorship? And the real question you want to get down to is how certain are you that their living is coming from trading P&L, or at least they're able to make a living from trading P&L rather than from marketing their subscription? And I saw in a lot of the responses, everyone was calling out their favorite Furu. To no surprise, no one said anything. And so I think like a big question is, if your marketer is not willing to provide any proof or edge, do they say why or provide transparency on the subject, or are they ignoring your requests and avoiding it? I think an ethical, honest person will say, I don't actively trade anymore, or my service is more so meant to provide signals and charts and setups. Transferring it to real edge and executions is on you. I'm not necessarily trading these. I think people that make disclaimers like that, it's totally fine. They're being honest, they're being open, they're being ethical. They should really have no problem with you asking these questions. It's within your right to ask this, right? And it's their responsibility to give you a valid answer. Of course, look, there's nothing stopping them from refusing to answer or avoiding it. But then you as a consumer have the power to say, that's a deal breaker for me. I'm unsubscribed and I'm not going to be a part of that. And that's fine. That's what will really create a more efficient market for these products. Now, keep in mind, not everyone out there is going to be some amazing epic trader, and that doesn't mean you can't necessarily learn from them, but I would just want some transparency and honesty. 8-figure traders are indeed exceptionally rare. I think even learning from like a 7-figure or even a 6-figure trader is still super, super important. Really, all you need is somebody that's one step or a couple steps further along than you, that's just providing real content and education for you. And then, of course, someone that's open about it. I think it's pretty clear. I've stated in many, many places, I don't actively trade anymore. I'm pretty open about that in a lot of my stuff. I trade occasionally for the big stuff, but for the most part, I'm running my nonprofit. I create free content and I do mentorship for SMB and others. And again, I think a lot of people like erroneously think that you need to be an active pro trader to have any credibility or offering. Like there were a lot of responses that said, oh, like I've seen to different threads, like Lance doesn't trade anymore. Like you know, I'm not trusting a word he says. Like that might be true that I don't actively trade, but that doesn't mean that I don't have any value. Most teachers and most people in positions of mentorship generally aren't doing it as actively as they were. So that's something to keep in mind. Like even take someone like Bella. Bella started trading well over a decade ago, but probably over 2 decades ago. I'm aging Bella. And so Bella started trading over 2 decades ago. He's been in the industry a long time, running a firm where he's seeing hundreds of traders and helping build 7 and 8-figure traders. So the funny part is Bella does actually still trade, but as you can imagine, he's spending infinitely more time on building his business and building his traders rather than on his own trading. Does that mean he doesn't have insight and knowledge to offer? Of course not. He's hugely beneficial to people, and the best part is all of his stuff is largely free. So another good question to ask is like, does the person have bad days or periods of drawdown or bad losses? If so, if someone's having bad losses and drawdowns and they're struggling, that is a good sign. That is actually a really good sign because that means like they're being open and honest. All traders do. You need to be extra suspicious of the traders, paradoxically enough, that aren't struggling, that don't have losses and don't have periods of drawdowns. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is certainly a reason to be suspicious. There are Twitter accounts out there that I will not name where they have, there's especially been one newer account, which I'm definitely not going to name, and their executions are picture perfect. So it's one of two things that's going on. It's either one, photoshopped, or 2, it's exceptionally cherry-picked or manipulated. Regardless, it's not representative. Like, you really want to find the people that have actual losses and periods of drawdown, because those are the real ones. The people that don't, again, I am extra skeptical. So another thing to think about, have traders under these people and these marketers found success or verified P&L using those methods? Have you seen proof of that success, and how successful did these mentees become? It's one of those analogies, right, where take Benjamin Graham and the fundamental analysis he was teaching. Benjamin Graham was decently successful, but far more successful than him was, of course, Buffett and Charlie Munger, and a bunch of others actually that followed in his ways. And so even if Benjamin Graham still wasn't investing at the time, it doesn't matter, right? Because you have such a clear correlation between his methods leading to success for others, and that success by others is clearly verified. So I would argue that even if someone isn't verifying their P&L, if there's students under them that have done really well and are vouching for it, and you can verify their success, or if you've met these people in person at meetups or Traders for a Cause, that's also a really, really good sign. And even just the more credible traders that you know are real, that then vouch for other people, that is a good sign indeed. Again, it's not going to be any magic answer, but it's using all these indicators together. Another general rule of thumb, the institutional side is fairly regulated about what you can and can't say. So I think most people coming from the institutional side, there's a higher burden on them to be honest and open, because there are real regulations and lawsuits, especially if you're registered for any type of firm or anything like that. So you'll often see a lot of that stuff accompanied by risk disclosures and all sorts of that, because guess what? They have real accountability, and that's important. Like, there's a reason why Trillium isn't publicly publishing stuff, because they're regulated. There's a lot of stuff that they can't do. There's a reason why, take SMB, in all their videos, there's risk disclosures. A lot of people don't have any of that because they're not really being held by any legal standard accountable to it. So again, it's just a red flag to be aware of. Another thing to think about, and this is actually one of my favorite rule of thumbs, is do you even know this person's real name? I always get concerned if people aren't sharing their real name, because there's no accountability. And I would say not just for this subject, but as a general rule of life. If someone in the business world or in any world is not sharing their real name with you, even in the dating world, like take it dating, business, life, anything, even like the shady drug dealer on the corner, like I kind of want to know their real name. So there are real repercussions if something goes wrong. Again, not that I use that shady drug dealer by the corner. That was just an example that might apply to some of you all. So like that's a reason to be a little worried. Like I understand why people might want anonymity. Because I think having a public figure is actually a huge pain in the ass. But again, it's just something to keep in mind, because if your name's out there, there is a heightened level of accountability. There is a reason why I use my real name. It is because I want you all to know who I am, because I want to be accountable for what I say and my views and everything else. So that is important. Another good heuristic is the gaudier or flashier the marketing, the less likely they are to have real content. There is a reason why my avatar on Twitter has a little drawn-in private jet and a hypercar to mock all the Furus that use this type of marketing. As you can see, I have no super nice Rolex on my wrist. I do not have a Lamborghini downstairs, and I do not have a private jet, nor will I ever own a private jet. Nor, if I did own those things, well, I guess I do have watches. Okay, touche. But even if I did own these things, I would not be posting them on Twitter. Because again, I want the draw to be the quality of my content, not selling this bullshit dream that all the Furus do with their hypercars and jets. And I think the final bullet I'll bring up, but maybe the most important bullet at all, is after a few months, maybe 4 months, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, are you personally seeing progress? Not necessarily are you making money yet, but are you seeing real tangible progress? That is probably the most important thing. There are a lot of courses, information, whatever out there from people that are not active traders anymore. But if you are using their information, if you're using their charts, if you're using their setups, and you're finding that it improves you're trading, the rest be damned. That is all that matters. But if all these red flags are being raised and your trading is not moving the needle, this is where you start to ask, is the stuff that I'm paying for not providing me real edge? So keep in mind, you as the consumer, you need to be more skeptical. These Furus only exist because consumers are paying them without doing the proper due diligence or asking for any standards of proof. The consumer is what enables this. If everybody was setting the standard of proof very, very high, they would be gone overnight. But alas, this is not a perfect world. People will keep on paying for snake oil, and that is fine. Ultimately, I have said what I wanted to say. One funny story I will add, which I meant to put at the beginning, but alas, I forgot. There was one trader indeed who did accept the challenge, and this same trader who will go unnamed, in fact, even did the call, or I guess raise and check and raise, call and either way, he raised me on my offer and challenged my own credibility, and I agreed to accept that bet. And many have asked, Lance, this person took your challenge and called you out. Whatever happened to that? Well, I will tell you, that trader did not provide me his real name. That trader did not reach out with his lawyers like he said he would, and I have not been able to verify that trader's background. And so I will not make any assumptions here, but I will simply leave it there. So to this day, months later, nobody has met my challenge. It goes unanswered, and I hope for the 900,000 people that viewed that tweet, if you are paying for a subscription service, please think twice about what you're paying for. I am not here to start a war with anyone. I am not here to sell anything to you. I am simply here to help the very good people that are being cheated by this make a more informed decision. Thank you all. Happy holidays, and I hope you all have a wonderful, more informed 2024. Thank you all so much.